Have you ever had someone question you on something and you don't know the answer, so you pretend like you do? You just try to cover for yourself? I know I've done that so many times, and I'm not exactly sure why. Why do we feel this need to cover up for the fact that we don't know something? Why are we so afraid to admit we don't know? You see, when we're willing to admit that we don't know, then it offers other people the alternative or the opportunity to help us. And when we're willing to stop and ask for help, people more often than not are more than willing. They want to, and it actually brings them great joy to help us. So we're going to talk about asking for help on today's One Simple Thing with my guest, Simon Sinek. Stay tuned.
It's time to build a better business by building a better you. This is One Simple Thing.
Well, what do you know? Here we go with another episode of the One Simple Thing podcast. My guest, Simon Sinek, on here with me again. My name is Dave Kirby, and I'm so grateful that you're spending a little time with us. Hey, if you've just discovered the show, maybe you're somebody who's followed Simon on social media and you saw his links to this program and you're just discovering us, would love for you to join our community. You could subscribe, rate, and review the show by going to iTunes, doing a search for One Simple Thing with the number one, either on your phone or on your computer. Also, if you'd like to join us, my Twitter handle is at the Dave Kirby, Kirby, and at Facebook or at facebook.com/One Simple Thing podcast with the number one in there. Would love for you to join us there, and welcome to the family. Simon Sinek is a fascinating and very deep thinker. His two books, global bestseller Start With Why, and his newest book, Leaders Eat Last. Fascinating books that I know you get a lot out of. We have a link to them on our website. Just go to onesimplethingonline.com. Simon, again, I just can't tell you how grateful I am to welcome you back to the One Simple Thing podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me back, Dave.
Yeah, it's been wonderful just kind of exploring our lives, exploring why we do what we do, exploring what our meaning in life is. I think that's such a powerful topic for us to discuss. And I was just thinking about the Mark Twain quote where he said, the two most important days in our lives are the day we're born and the day we find out why. And that's kind of what your message is, right?
I would concur. And I have no control over the day we're born, but I've devoted my life and my career to helping others find why.
You know, you wrote Start With Why, and you admitted that you never expected to be an author or a speaker or anything. And I'm sure Start With Why has changed your life in many ways. Completely.
I mean, as I said in the previous episode, this was never an academic or commercial exercise. The discovery of the why was something I needed to save me. I'd lost my passion for what I was doing and was suffering the closest I've ever come if I wasn't completely depressed. And the discovery of the why gave my life and my work a sense of purpose that I needed. So I shared it with my friends. My friends had me share it with their friends, and lo and behold, it became a career.
I'm assuming you've heard some pretty incredible stories since that point of people who have discovered their why and how it's changed their lives, right?
Yeah, it's been an amazing journey. I mean, every single person on my team, for example, discovered their why, and it was the why that drew them to me and my work. And we're all sort of astounded by each other, quite frankly. And then we're constantly getting mail and emails from people saying thank you. Ever since the discovery of my why, it's improved my relationship with someone, or it's changed the course of my business, or I have a passion that I never thought I could ever have thanks to this thing. It's really an inspiring cause to be a part of.
Must we find our why by ourselves, or can other people help us discover what our why is?
My thought is you have to have some help from another. We're social animals, and we're at our best when we work together with others. We cannot lift heavy weights by ourselves, and we cannot solve complex problems by ourselves. But together we're amazing. And even me, when I set out to find this thing called the why and discover my own why, the only reason I had the courage to do it was because one of my friends came to me and said, "I'm worried about you. Are you okay?" And it was knowing that I had someone in my corner that it gave me the courage to go on the journey. And so I'm a great believer that when we are willing to ask for help from others, they are willing to give it. I think it was one of the biggest lessons I ever learned in my life, and it came about the same time as the discovery of why, which is we do not have to know all the answers, and we do not have to pretend we do. And our willingness to admit, quote unquote, I don't know, and our willingness to ask for help, it's amazing how many people will help. People want to help each other, and our friends and our colleagues want to help us. And the problem is, the reason they don't is because they don't think we need it, because we don't admit that we need it. We don't we think, especially those in leadership positions, they act like they have all the answers, and they act like they have to have all the answers. And so nobody helps them. It's not because we're mean, it's because we don't think they need it. But for those who are willing to say, I don't know, hey, what time is that? Or it's something more complex. What's the answer to this difficult problem? I don't know, but let me think out loud here and give it a whirl. But the ability to say, I don't know, you would think people say, well, that makes you look weak. It doesn't. It makes you look much stronger because people see you as human. And most importantly, it enlists others to come and help you. You don't engender trust by saying to someone, let me help you. How can I help you? We engender trust when we say to someone, can you help me? And when we give someone the opportunity to contribute to our lives or the lives of others, can you help me? This is what gives their lives purpose. Simply us going, how can I help you? How can I help you? How can I help you? It's all nice and good, but it's ironically not what engenders trust. It's when we admit our vulnerability and we ask someone to leverage their intelligence, their strength, their hard work to help us advance whatever it is we're trying to advance, whether it's solve a problem or advance a business. And it's remarkable when it happens because you realize that you can do anything because you don't have to know everything.
I was just thinking about culturally, we see politicians or whoever that get caught in some misdeed or whatever. And the people we have the most compassion for, right, they're the people that admit it and say, I was wrong and I need help to get past this, whether it's a religious leader or a politician or whoever it is. But the ones who deny, and cover, we don't have much sympathy for them, do we?
None. And it's not an American thing. It's a human thing. We are okay with frailty. I'll tell you a story. So this is a true story. I went to visit OCS, which is where Marines select their officers. And the day I was there in Quantico, Virginia, at Marine Base Quantico, total coincidence, the day I was there, the Marines had an incident. And the colonel in charge of the OCS walked into a briefing that he was going to give me and apologized for being late and said, I'm sorry, we've had an incident on base where we're considering throwing one of our Marines out of the Marine Corps, out of OCS. It's a career ender. And I was thinking, oh my God, what did this guy do? What law did he break? And I said, what did he do? And the colonel said, he fell asleep on watch. And I said, that's all? Boy, you guys are tough. And the colonel said, no, you don't understand. When we asked him about it, he denied it. When we asked him about it, he denied it again. And only when we gave him irrefutable proof did he say, quote, I want to take responsibility for my actions. And the problem, he continued to tell me, is we believe, he said, you don't take responsibility for your actions when you get caught. You take your responsibility for your actions when you perform your actions. And then he went on to say, we have another Marine who fell asleep on watch. He admitted it. He got punished. We have no problem with him. And that's the point. The Marines, like anybody else in the human race, are not looking for us to be perfect. They're looking for us to be honest. Because we can trust honest people, where we're cynical of people who are perfect because no one's perfect. So this is one of the reasons we don't trust politicians, is because they have an answer for everything. Everything they have, they can spin it so they actually meant to do it and is actually the right thing to do. And, the fact that they flip-flop 10 times, well, I have new information now. It's like God forbid they should ever say, you know what? I made a dog's breakfast out of it and I screwed it up and I learned a heck of a lesson, Yeah. And quite frankly, it's what we want. It's the appeal of people who speak their mind. It's not because they're perfect or they have all the right ideas. It's just we like people who are honest, who let us into what they're thinking. Most importantly, when they don't know the answer or when they make mistakes.
We kind of revel in, we see the cocky jerk who acts like he knows everything. We almost kind of revel in seeing them kind of get their comeuppance, right?
Exactly right.
So why do we continue to act like that? Why do we continue to try and lay that template of perfection or invulnerability on top of ourselves?
Because we're trying to act in the manner that we think others want to see us, which is strong. And what we don't perceive is that our strength comes from our vulnerability. You always hear this conversation, be vulnerable, make yourself vulnerable. What does that even mean? Nobody wants to be vulnerable. It sounds horrible. But vulnerability is what we have in great relationships with great companies. It means I can look to the left or fall asleep at night and trust that somebody else is looking to the right or watching my back when I'm asleep. If we don't trust each other, it means I can never go to bed at night, And that's basically what vulnerability means. My favorite definition of love is giving someone the power to destroy you and trusting that they won't use it. Right? That's vulnerability.
Wow.
When we work with our colleagues and we give them access to the numbers, to the bank accounts, and trust that they won't take all the money and run, that's vulnerability. We make ourselves vulnerable. We put ourselves in a vulnerable position where someone else could take advantage of us and trust that they don't. And it's an imperfect system because sometimes it backfires. But at the end of the day, the ones we love, the ones who we trust the most, are the ones who could actually hurt us because we let them. We put them in that situation. We told them things about ourselves. We admitted things. We confided in them. We opened up the books. We shared what we know. We shared what we don't know. And ultimately, they trusted us because we asked them to help us. And leaders have to do that. Leaders have to admit what they don't know and enlist their people to help solve the problem. And it gives our lives purpose that we can contribute to something bigger than ourselves. That's what vulnerability means, and it's really important stuff.
Yeah, there's something magical when we say, you know what, I don't know, but let's go find out together.
Let's figure it out together. Exactly right.
Thank you, Simon, again for being with me. We're again, just here at the end of the program, and I know we're going to tell everybody about your books here in just a moment. Start with Why was the first one, New York Times bestseller. The second one also, Leaders Eat Last. Obviously, you have figured out your why. Leave us with some parting words about each of us finding our own why.
You have to want to know it. It's not something you can do because someone tells you have to, or because it'll help you, because it's a good idea. Some people do it out of inspiration, and some people do it at the end of catastrophic failure, and they say, I really should learn this. But the first step in learning your why is the desire to want to learn it, whether it's out of insatiable curiosity or the need to put one's life back on track. And quite frankly, that is the same criteria for being a leader, which is the first step to being a leader is you have to want to be one.
Simon Sinek, pleasure to talk with you. Great information, great advice, and we'll tell everybody about the books here in a minute. Thank you so much. I just can't even begin to express my gratitude for you taking the time to be on the show. Thanks very much, and thanks for giving me a forum to share my ideas. I really appreciate it. Remember those words. The first step in discovering your why is the ability to admit you want to, right? The desire. You first have to acquiesce to the desire to want to know why in your life, to start asking that question, why. And Simon can lead you down that path through his books, Start with Why especially, and also his newest book, Leaders Eat Last. But nobody can lead you down the path of discovering your why until you're willing to admit that you don't know and that you want to know. So hopefully you will check out Simon's books. Again, they're available. Just go through our website. That way we'll make a couple of pennies off of them as well to support our work here at One Simple Thing. Just go to onesimplethingonline.com. On the right-hand side of the page, you'll see a banner ad for Simon Sinek, and you can click on that. It'll take you to Amazon where you can pick up a copy of his books, and I would highly recommend you do so. Again, I'm so grateful for Simon Sinek being on the show today. We've got all the contact info for his website, etc. You just go to our website, look at the show notes for today's episode 319 when you go to onesimplethingonline.com. I'm Dave Kirby. Thank you for listening. Would love to know what you think of these conversations. If you want to shoot me an email, you could do so, dave@onesimplethingonline.com with the number 1. And I will see you next time here on the One Simple Thing podcast.